Hello, hello. Welcome back to the mat and welcome to our autumn equinox practice. The autumn or fall equinox is one of these seasonal shifts throughout the year. This shift marks our transition towards darker days. So we'll see our days start to get shorter. We start to experience more darkness as we start to make our way towards winter. On this day, however, on the day of the equinox, we do experience equal parts of night and day. We get 12 hours of daytime, 12 hours of nighttime. We find this sense of balance in the planet. And so that's what we'll be working on today, is finding that place of balance in our practice. Balance between movement and stillness, strength and surrender. The autumn equinox is also a really nice time to check in with our intentions throughout the year. Any intentions that we might have set, any goals we wanted to achieve, and as we move into this last phase of the year, check in, see how things have gone, what has worked and what hasn't, and take stock. Maybe recommit to any intentions or set new ones if older ones no longer serve. If you're looking for ways to move from a place of intention, to start your mornings from a place of intention, I invite you to come join us in Morning Magic. It is a free 7-day challenge that we'll be doing as a community, starting each morning with an intention and a short yoga practice to move the body and really set that intention for the day. The link is in the description below. Come on in and join us. It's a free 7-day experience, and it's a really nice way to kind of kick off this last chunk of the year. For today's practice, I do recommend having a yoga block handy. We'll be coming into a supported bridge, so you'll be placing it underneath you. If you have 2 blocks, then yeah, totally have 2 blocks handy also, but definitely have at least one. And like any other prompts that you like to have handy, go ahead and have those nearby, but definitely 1 block. Alrighty, go ahead and unroll your mat. I will meet you right here in a tall, comfortable seat. Alrighty, come into your tall seat. The legs can be in any configuration that feels good for you, so you don't have to be sitting the same way I am. Any seat that allows you to sit up really tall with a long spine. And once you find your seat, go ahead and invite the eyelids to close. We'll take a few moments here to settle in, to center, to dip into our practice. And start to bring your awareness to your breath. For the moment, simply becoming aware of your breath and the quality of it. We're going to begin this practice with a pranayama practice, so a breathing practice. We're coming into samavriti, which is even regulated breath. So keeping with the theme of finding balance, begin to find an evenness throughout your inhales and exhales. And what I mean by that is, see if you can regulate the intensity of your inhale so that the beginning of your inhale is not stronger than the middle or the end, so that each part of your inhale is equal. And then do the same with the exhale. Finding a smoothness throughout the length of your inhales, the lengths of your exhales. And once you've found that, now begin to match the length of your inhale and exhale. So while keeping that smooth evenness, if you're inhaling for, say, 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts as well. Any count that feels comfortable on your breath, so you don't want to feel like you're straining or pushing or trying too hard. If the mind starts to wander, gently bring it back. Finding that smooth evenness throughout the entire cycle of your breath. Finding a place of balance between how much you take in and how much you put out. And while keeping this really smooth, even breath, if Ujjayi breath is in your practice, you can begin to turn that on as well. So making this a Samavriti Ujjayi, an even regulated Ujjayi breath. And if you're unfamiliar with Ujjayi, no worries, just stay with that smooth, even, equal inhale and exhale. And then we'll begin to move the body a little bit, so gently opening the eyes. And we'll start to warm up the spine. So if you're sitting up on a block, it might be easier to come down off of your block, particularly if it's a thicker block like mine are. And we'll start opening side body. So go ahead and bring the left hand, right hand down next to the right hip, left arm up next to the left ear. Take an inhale to lengthen. And as you exhale, walk the right fingertips out to the right as you open right side of the body. So lean over. Notice if the left hip wants to lift off the earth. Keep the left hip down as you reach through left fingertips, finding a bit of space all along the left side. Go ahead and inhale to lift back up to center and switch sides. So left hand comes down, right arm up. Take an inhale to lengthen. Exhale, lean over towards the left. Rooting the right hip onto the earth as you reach through right fingertips. Go ahead and lift up to center, bringing both arms up next to the ears. We'll come into a twist. So take an inhale to lengthen really tall, crown of the head reaches high. As you exhale, twist to the right from the belly, the ribs, the shoulders. Bring left hand down onto the right knee, right hand comes back behind you, and then turn the gaze to look over the right shoulder. On an inhale, turn the head back to center, followed by the shoulders, the ribs, and the belly, lifting the arms high. Take an inhale here to lengthen. Exhale, twist to the left from the belly, the ribs, the shoulders. Right hand to the left knee, left hand comes behind you, and then turning the gaze to look over the left shoulder. Turning head back to center, shoulders, ribs, and belly. Make your way into a tabletop position, hands and knees. And you'll stack the shoulders right above the wrists and the hips right above the knees. Begin to move through your cat-cow. On your inhales, dropping the belly, lifting the gaze and the tailbone. Exhale to round the spine, press the earth away. Inhale to arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift the gaze. Exhale, chin comes towards the chest. Take 2 more like this. And then finding a neutral spine. Double check to make sure that the wrists are right underneath the shoulders. And then from here, you're going to keep the shoulders right where they are. Extend the right leg long, ball of the foot is on the earth. And then stretch the left leg long next to the right, plank pose. So the legs are super active here. Really press the earth away so you'll feel the shoulder blades spread on the back a little bit. The gaze is towards the front edge of your mat. Pulling pubic bone towards the navel, navel towards the spine, the heels reaching towards the back of your space. Stay for 1 more inhale. And exhale, downward facing dog. Feel free to take any movement here that feels good. Bending the knees, pedaling out the legs. Maybe shifting the hips side to side. Whatever speaks to you here in this first downward facing dog of our practice. And when you feel satisfied with movement, begin to find stillness here in this shape. Press firmly through all 5 finger pads. Allow the shoulder blades to pull down the back, make space for the neck. On an inhale, come forward into your plank pose. As you exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Keep the legs super active. Inhale, come forward, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 more like this. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more inhale, forward. And exhale, downward facing dog. Begin to walk the feet up to the hands. Finding a ragdoll fold here. So feet are hip width distance. Allow there to be a generous bend in the knees as you let the torso and head hang heavy. You can shake the head out, yes and no, maybe so. Maybe find a gentle sway with the torso, shifting the weight on the feet. Really any movement that speaks to you here as you check in with the entire back side of the body. See how the calves and the hamstrings are feeling. The glutes and the low back, the middle and upper back, and the neck. On your next inhale, lift halfway, reaching crown of the head forward. And as you exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. One more inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, bring hands onto hips. Inhale, come up to stand with a flat back. Finding your Tadasana mountain pose here. So bringing big toes to touch, keeping a slight gap in between the heels. Feel yourself root down. And from that place of rooting down, feel the energy rise up through your body. Shoulder blades pulling back and down, standing up really nice and tall. Take a moment to close down the eyes and see if you can come back into that smooth, even breath. Finding a place of perfect balance here. Go ahead and open the eyes, and we'll move through a few rounds of Surya Namaskar A. So as you inhale, lift the arms up high. Exhale, hinge at the hips as you fold over the legs. Flat back brings you down. Inhale to lift the gaze, lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, plant the palms and step back into your plank pose. Take an inhale here. Exhale, option to lower the knees or not as you come down for Chaturanga, or bring the torso all the way to the earth. As you inhale, open up the chest, pull shoulder blades back, cobra or upward facing dog if you feel ready for it. And exhale to press back, downward facing dog. On your inhale, look between the hands. And on your exhale, you can step or hop or tiptoe to the top of the mat. Inhale to lengthen the spine, lifting the gaze. And exhale to fold over the legs. On your inhale, come all the way up to stand, arms lift high. Exhale, hands into heart center. We'll move through 2 more rounds just like that. Inhaling to lift the arms. Exhale, fold down over the legs. Inhale to lengthen spine. Exhale, take it back, plank pose. Take an inhale here. Exhale, lower however you'd like to lower, either knees on the earth or not, Chaturanga. Inhaling for upward facing dog or cobra. And exhaling to press the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Inhale, look between hands. Exhale, make your way to the top of the mat, however you'd like to get there. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come up to stand, arms lift. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, arms high. Exhale to fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step, or you can hop back into Chaturanga if that's in your practice. So making our way through our Vinyasa, inhaling to open the chest, and exhaling to downward facing dog. Inhale, look between hands. Exhale, top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, arms lift. Exhale, hands to heart. Release the arms by the sides of the body. Find your Tadasana mountain pose. Take a couple rounds of that Smooth, even breath, the Samavriti breath. Opening the eyes. Moving into Surya Namaskar B. Bend the knees deeply. Lift the arms for Utkatasana. Take your inhale here. Exhale, fold over legs. Inhale to lift the gaze. Exhale, step or hop. Make your way through your Vinyasa however you would like to. Inhale, we'll open the chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. From here, right away, the right foot steps between the hands. We're going to stay on the ball of the back foot. Inhale to lift the torso for a high lunge. Exhale, hands come right back down. Take the right foot back. Flow through a Vinyasa to downward facing dog. Left foot between hands. Your inhale will lift the torso, high lunge. Exhale, hands to the earth. Take left foot back. Vinyasa here. Inhale, look between hands. Exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale to lengthen and exhale to fold. Bend the knees deeply. Inhale, lift the torso, Utkatasana. Exhale, stand up tall. Inhale, bend the knees deeply, lift the arms, Utkatasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift the gaze. Exhale, step or hop, make your way through your Vinyasa. Inhaling, open chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right away, right foot steps between hands. The left heel will come down this time for warrior one. Inhale is going to lift the torso. Exhale brings the hands right back down, stepping right foot back, taking a Vinyasa here to downward facing dog. Right away, left foot between hands, right heel down. Inhale, lifts you up. Exhale, brings hands down. Vinyasa here. We're taking 3 breaths here in downward facing dog. See if you can make them those smooth, even breaths. Inhale, look between hands. Exhale, step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees deeply. Inhale, lift the torso, Utkatasana. Exhale, stand up tall. All right, we've got one more round of Surya Namaskar B. We're going to end in downward facing dog. Here we go. Inhale, bend the knees deeply, lift the arms, Utkatasana. Exhale, fold over legs. Inhale, lift the gaze. Exhale, step or hop, make your way back, lower towards the mat. Inhale, open chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot between hands, left heel down. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, hands to the earth, step right foot back. Vinyasa. If you're over these Vinyasas already, that's totally cool. Feel free to skip them. Left foot between hands, right heel down. Inhale to rise. Exhale, hands to the earth. Inhale, open chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. And from here, take the right foot, step it between the hands. We're coming into warrior two, so left heel comes down, 90-degree angle, heel of the front foot intersecting the arch of the back foot. Go ahead and lift the torso. Hips and shoulders are open to the side of your mat. Arms are strong and long, gaze right over the right middle finger. From here, go ahead and flip the front palm, lean back for peaceful warrior. Left hand comes onto the left leg, reach through right fingertips. Notice if you start to lose some of the bend in the right knee, bring the bend back into the leg. Make sure that the right leg isn't buckling in, so really press towards the outside of the right thigh. Keep all this length in the right side of the body as you start to straighten the right leg. And now you're going to take all this length and bring it over the right leg. So you're going to start to reach forward as far as you can. And then the right arm will come down. Right hand can come onto the shin, maybe onto a block if that feels better for you. Left arm opens up towards the sky. Trikonasana, triangle pose. You can bring the gaze up towards the left fingertips if that feels okay on your neck. Otherwise, totally cool to stay with a neutral neck or to keep the gaze down towards your right foot. From here, we're coming into half moon pose. So bring left hand onto left hip, bend the right knee. The right hand comes onto the earth. 2 spaces in front of the right foot and 1 space out to the right. This is a beautiful, beautiful place to bring your block as you shift the weight onto the right leg. The hips and the chest stay open to the side of your space. Left arm will lift up towards the sky, and maybe you can play with bringing the gaze up towards the left fingers. And to come on out of this pose, you'll bring the gaze down, bend deeply into the right leg, step the left foot way back, find your warrior two. Take an inhale here. And as you exhale, cartwheel hands to the earth, step the right foot back, take a Vinyasa if you'd like it. Otherwise, you can head straight to downward facing dog. Take the left foot, step it between the hands. Find your warrior two stance on the left side. Lifting the torso. Hips and shoulders open to the side of your mat. Arms are super strong. Flip the front palm. Lean back, peaceful warrior. Feel for opening in the left side of the body. So while the gaze is up, try to keep the chest open towards the side of your mat, so not turning the chest up. So we're trying to keep this a side bend as opposed to a back bend. And from here, go ahead and straighten the left leg. Get a little more length in the left side, and then take all that length and bring it over the left leg. Bringing left arm down, right arm up, triangle pose. If you've got the left hand on the left shin or on a block, make sure you're not dumping weight down. So you should be able to lift that hand fairly easily. Coming into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Right hand onto right hip. Bend the left knee. Left hand to the earth. 1, 2 spaces forward, 1 space towards the left. Shift the weight forward onto the left leg as you lift the right leg high. Chest and hips open towards the side of your mat. Right arm can lift to the sky if that feels okay. Maybe the gaze turns up towards the right fingertips. And then bring the gaze back to the earth. Bend the left knee deeply as you step the right foot way back. Find your warrior two. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, cartwheel hands to the earth. Step the left foot back, Vinyasa here. Taking a few rounds of breath here in downward facing dog. The tendency as we begin to move more quickly, as we start to demand more of both body and breath, is for the breath to become all kinds of like ragged and uneven. I always notice that my exhales get really strong at the beginning of the exhale, like I'm really pressing it out. So when we come into downward facing dog, see if you can right away try and find that smooth, even breath, finding that place of balance, of equanimity. Alrighty, here we go. We're going to flow through the same flow we just did, trying to bring it into about one breath per movement. So we'll be moving through it fairly briskly. Alright, go ahead. Step the right foot between the hands, finding your warrior two. Rise up into it and sit down into the legs. Flip the front palm, lean back, peaceful warrior. Straighten right leg. Take the torso over the right leg, right arm down, left arm up, triangle pose. Take the gaze down. You can bring left hand to the left hip, or you can leave it lifted as we find half moon pose. So the right hand comes onto the earth, maybe to a block. Lift into your pose. Take an inhale. And exhale, bend the right knee, step your left foot back, warrior two. Take an inhale here. Exhale, cartwheel hands, step right foot back, Vinyasa. And downward facing dog. Left foot between hands, right heel down, warrior two, lift the torso. Flip the front palm, lean back, peaceful warrior. Straighten left leg. Take the torso over the left leg, left arm down, right arm up, triangle pose. Gaze comes down towards the left foot. Bend the left knee as you bring the left hand onto the earth for half moon. Shift the weight onto the left leg, lift right leg high. Bend the left knee deeply. Step right foot way back, warrior two. Take an inhale. Exhale, cartwheel the hands. Vinyasa. To downward facing dog. Alrighty, we've reached the surrender portion of our practice. We're coming into pigeon pose. So take the right knee and bring it behind the right wrist. And the right foot's gonna come up towards the left wrist. You can use the left toes to scoot yourself back, so bringing the right hip down onto the earth and the front of the left thigh down onto the earth. Prop yourself up or take whatever variation speaks to you here. So if you're lifted way up high, if you find you're collapsing, bring a block underneath the right hip to support you. If this just feels horrible on your knees or your hips, you can take a seated variation, making a figure four with the legs, or take that on your back as well. Find what works for you. If you're here, we're going to inhale to lift the chest. And as we exhale, we're going to walk the hands forward as we begin to bring the chest down over the leg. You can take a pause here on forearms, and maybe you stay here on forearms. It's depending on how this feels on the right hip. There should be no discomfort or pain whatsoever on the knee. If you are experiencing pain or discomfort, pull back, take seated or supine on your back variations. And slowly begin to lift the torso, walking the hands back towards the body. Plant the palms on the earth, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and then take the right leg all the way up and back. So you're in a three-legged dog with the right leg lifted. You're gonna bend the right knee, open up the hip, maybe take a few circles with the right leg. Bring a little bit of movement into that right hip. And then right foot to the earth will come onto the other side. So you'll bring the left knee behind the left wrist. Left foot comes up towards the right wrist-ish. Scoot yourself back with the right foot so that you can bring the left hip onto the earth. And if that's not working, prop it up. Maybe a block, maybe a blanket or cushion, whatever works for you. If this variation doesn't work at all, take the variation that works for you. We're going to take an inhale here to lengthen. And as we exhale, lowering the torso towards the leg. As we come into these poses of stillness, see if you can bring that smooth, even breath back and maintain it through the rest of practice. So we're now we're full on like surrender mode. We've worked on strengthening, on moving, and now we're going to just surrender into these poses. Find some stillness in them. The weeks and months to come are going to be time for more stillness. As the days get darker and colder and shorter, there's less time for doing, right? So there's more time for looking inward and finding more stillness, a bit more quiet. And slowly begin to lift the torso, walking the hands back. Planting the palms flat, tucking the right toes under, lifting the right knee, and then lifting into a three-legged dog with the left leg lifting up and back. Bend the left knee, open up the hip, maybe taking a few circles with the left leg, finding some movement. And then bringing left foot to the earth. And then from here, we're gonna come onto a seat. So you can bring the shins onto the earth and cross over them, or come to sit however you'd like to come to sit. We're coming into a seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. And I'd like us to come into this with bent knees actually. So if you have 2 blocks handy, you can bring your 2 blocks just underneath your knees, like so. And you'll come into your forward fold just like this. So really we're focusing more on the back more so than the hamstrings. We're gonna let the hamstrings kind of just chill. If you don't have 2 blocks, or if it feels like the blocks are too much, you can use a blanket. You'll take your blanket and you'll roll it into a Tootsie Roll like shape and you'll bring that underneath your knees. If you have a bolster, you can use a bolster as well. So a blanket will, it won't elevate the knees as much as blocks will. So if you feel like you're a bit more open in the hamstrings and in the back, then this is a nice option. If you'd like to elevate the knees a little bit more to take some of the work out of the hamstrings and the back, then feel free. So let's take an inhale here to really lengthen the spine along, so crown of the head reaching towards the sky. And then we're going to reach the heart towards the feet as we start to fold. So seeing if you can keep a really nice long spine as you breathe into this. And then if there's no pain here in the lower back, you can go ahead and round down into this forward fold. Really let yourself surrender into this. And if it feels uncomfortable on the neck, or like you're not really sure what to do with it, you could bring a block kind of right in between the legs and bring the forehead down onto the block. So like really surrender. Release down into this pose. Slowly begin to lift. Really nice and slow, lifting the torso. And from here, we'll come into a supported bridge pose. So if you have a blanket underneath the knees, you can just set it off to the side next to your mat. And make sure that you have a block handy as you come onto your back. As you come onto your back here, bring the soles of both feet flat onto your mat. And you're going to take the block in your hand, press into the feet, lift the hips up just enough to slide the block underneath your sacrum, so underneath like the hips. And the arms will be next to the body, and that's it. This is your supported bridge pose. And if you feel like your body's just really craving a more active back bend, please feel free. Take whatever it is that your body is asking for. But if this feels kind of nice, then, surrender into it. Come back into that smooth, even Samavriti breath. You can let go of the Ujjayi. Just focus on finding that balance in the breath. And from here, we're coming into a passive inversion. So into Viparita Karani. So if your block is on its lowest height, then you're just going to keep it right as it is. If you took this supported bridge with your block on medium height or higher height, I suggest bringing it down onto your lowest height. And then from here, you're simply going to lift the feet off the earth and then extend the feet up towards the sky. If you'd like to make this a bit more relaxed, you can scooch your bottom up to a wall and then take the legs up the wall and allow the legs to rest on the wall. If you're feeling pretty comfortable where you are, then please stay right there. I like to take a few circles with my feet. Feels nice in the ankles. And then finding stillness. Slowly begin to bend the knees as you bring the feet down towards the earth. And bring the feet flat onto the mat. And then lift the hips up just enough to move the block out from underneath you. And you'll set your block off to the side. And then from here, go ahead and hug the knees in towards the chest, giving them a gentle, loving squeeze. Finishing our practice with a supine twist. So from here, you'll nice and easy take both knees and drop them over towards the left, keeping the right shoulder down on the earth, bringing the gaze over the right shoulder. Go ahead and lift the knees back up to center. And we'll take them over to the other side. So dropping knees over towards the right, keeping left shoulder on the earth, and bringing the gaze over the left shoulder. Go ahead and lift the knees back to center. Giving them one last loving squeeze here. And if there are any other movements that your body is craving before we find stillness in Shavasana, feel free to take whatever that is. You can hit pause here on the video, take whatever it is that you'd like, and then join me for Shavasana. If you are ready for Shavasana, you're going to extend the legs long. If you have your blanket Tootsie Roll or like a cushion, Nice to bring it underneath the knees, elevating the knees a little bit. So if you've got that handy, feel free to take that. Allowing the feet to kind of just flop out and be loose. We're gonna bring the arms next to the body. Let's turn the palms up in a gesture of receiving. Take a big breath in through the nose, fill up the belly. Open the mouth and let it go. Take 2 more like this. Big inhale. Let it go. 1 more, biggest breath of the day. Release. You can release any control over breath here. Allow the breath to be completely natural, moving on its own rhythm in and out of the body. If you have more time to stay here in Shavasana, please stay. Otherwise, start to bring some gentle movement into fingers and toes, to wrists and ankles. And extend the arms long overhead and take a nice long stretch. Bend the knees, bringing the feet flat onto the mat. and roll onto the side of your choice. Using the top hand to help press you up, make your way into a comfortable seat. Sitting up nice and tall, bringing palms to touch at heart center, sealing this practice with the sound of Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. Peace for yourself, peace for someone you love, and peace for someone you don't know. Big inhale. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much for allowing me to lead you here in practice today. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me here on the mat today. And of closing out this final chapter of the year from a place of intention and mindfulness sounds like something you're interested in, click that link in the description below and come join us for this Morning Magic 7-day experience. I will meet you right back here on the mat next time.